Hello, fellow flamenco enthusiasts, and welcome to Everything Flamenco. I'm your host, La Hugo. This is episode 48, and we are going to continue our topic about injuries. So, last week we spoke about preventing injuries, but unfortunately, sometimes, even if you do your absolute best, you take all the precautions and take rest. So I don't think everybody does that all the time, but even if you have, sometimes things just happen and you still get injured or you get sick. Or as we get older, we face other health challenges that can rear their ugly heads and that might just come completely out of left field. That can be so frustrating, especially if you're a flamenco junkie. So now you're injured or you have health challenges. What do you do now? In today's episode, we're only going to focus on temporary dance injuries or other injuries you bring into the classroom that are non-dance related and what to do while you are healing. There are quite a few key dates coming up in between this episode and the one where we will explore options to still keep connected to dancing if you cannot dance anymore. So on my planner, I've got to talk about that in episode 54, which seems a long way off, but time flies when you're having fun, especially with flamenco. So we are going to specifically talk about what you can do while you are healing in the hopes that you can still heal from your injuries that you have. I know that there are a few of you out there that fall within this category of not being able to dance like before. So keep an eye out for episode 54. Hopefully I have some good ideas and options that you'd like. So for now, let's get back to episode 48 and delve into recovering from injuries and other health challenges. As you all well know, dancing is so much more than movement. It's passion, it's expression. For many, it's really a way of life. And for flamenco dancers in particular, every stomp of the foot, every turn, every flourish, every expression carries real deep emotion and intensity. But what do you do? What happens when the body, the very instrument of this art form, faces injury or health challenges? It's really such a common reality, too common. I've seen it so much lately. And even if you don't push your body hard, but oftentimes dancers push their bodies to the limit. They repeat intricate footwork that really takes a lot of impact. They bear weight in demanding positions and they move with precision and power. And over time, the wear and tear can take its toll. Sprained ankles, torn ligaments, stress fractures. These are really not just hypothetical risks, but real lived experiences for many in the flamenco world. And chronic conditions like arthritis or tendinitis can also creep in. That can make even the simplest movements very painful. And it cannot just be the body that struggles. I mean, dance is also very much a mental thing, not just physical. And the pressure to perform at a high level, especially if you perform professionally, not maybe if you are doing this just for enjoyment. But yeah, the pressure to perform at a high level, frustrations of lingering injuries, anxiety of not being able to practice or perform, or even the anxiety because you need to perform, all of these can really weigh heavily on a dancer's spirit. And stress and anxiety can tighten your muscles and dull your creativity and even delay recovery. So for dancers, being sidelined like that can really feel like losing a part of themselves. I think especially for flamenco dancers, because it's just so much a part of your personality. It's not just a performance. But even with that, it's really important to remember that healing, whether you are healing from a physical injury or a mental strain, is not a sign of weakness. It really isn't. It's part of the journey. And with pain and adversity, in the end, we actually become better flamenco dancers. To rest, to rehabilitate yourself, and having compassion for yourself is just as crucial as training and practice. Uh, like I said, for many dancers, flamenco is so much more than just an activity. Even if you are just dancing for recreational purposes, it's really an identity. It's a language. It's a way of breathing. So to suddenly find yourself unable to express that part of yourself can be devastating and heartbreaking. I mean, not being able to move as freely as before, to execute your beloved steps with precision, or even stamp out your frustrations or your stresses at work if you have a stressful job, or to perform with confidence. Sometimes people feed also from performing live, and losing out on that, even if it is just for a short period of time, can really create a deep sense of loss. You must be frustrated because you feel like you are losing out, losing progress, or you're not even sure if you'll be able to recover enough to dance again. And these emotions, I mean, disappointment, sadness, even grief, they are completely valid. Dance, especially flamenco dancing, is really a lifelong passion. And when that connection is disrupted, it can really feel like a part of you is missing. So, im- again, it's so important to acknowledge those feelings, to give yourself space to process the sadness and everything of what's happened with your health, and to recognize that healing is not just about the body, it's also about your heart and your mind. And even though it is very difficult, sometimes you just need to step back to heal. Don't push yourself while you're injured, because it really can delay the healing process or even prevent you from recovering fully. Always think about the long term, not just about your feelings and frustrations in the moment. I know it's very, very hard, but that is a critical part of getting to a space where you can dance again. So, as before, I'm really putting a disclaimer here. Uh, Before I start with guidance, if you can call it that, on how to recover while you are healing from your injuries, please note I found these things useful during my life with flamenco. I'm by no means a qualified doctor or other medical health professional. If you have any injuries, pain, or discomfort, please consult your doctor, your physiotherapist, or your biokineticist, or your medical specialist, or have them refer you to another specialist if your diagnosis is severe, or if you have any discomfort or anything while following anything that I'm saying. Please don't take my word as the law. Okay. So, first, we need to understand what the healing process is. When we talk about healing from an injury, it's important to remember that the healing process isn't just about letting time pass. So you're not sitting and just waiting for your body to recover. It's really about proactive recovery and managing your injury correctly from the start. So obviously, your doctor will give you guidance on this, but when you are injured, the first thing you might want to do is to stabilize the area. And with a brace, an ice pack, or some rest, it can really help in the initial stages, perhaps even before you will be able to get an appointment with a doctor. It's equally crucial to treat the injury as an active process. So, one of the biggest mistakes I see dancers make, and that I've also made in the past, is to ignore the discomfort or pain in certain areas, to think that it will go away on its own. And the reality is that pain and discomfort are often signs from your body that something isn't right. It's a little tightness in your calf, discomfort in your lower back, or your sciatica, or tenderness in your ankle. If you ignore these signs, it could lead to worse injuries down the line. I must tell you, when the only time that I was lucky enough to go to Spain, I twisted my ankle on the train to the airport from another country when we were going to Spain. And this is even before I started dancing flamenco. It was just before I started. And I was dreaming about Spain for so long that I completely ignored this injury. I mean, I'm not talking specifically about dancing with an injury, but it's kind of in that line. So I walked the cobblestone streets of Spain with that injured foot for days on end, up to the point where I couldn't even sleep at night, and I had to go to a Spanish hospital where I wasn't able to speak Spanish, and I had to explain to someone who told me that they can speak English, but they actually could just say, "Hello, how are you?" in English. What was wrong with me? And it ended up basically not ruining our holiday, but it made it worse. And it took me a long time to recover from that until I could actually get to my first class to start flamenco dancing. And I don't know if I really regret doing that, but it actually ended up making my ankle weaker, and I injured it twice more after that within 2 years because of the initial injury. So I might dig into it in a later episode, but just so that you know, ignoring those things, because being so hard-headed like I was is not a good thing. Okay, so do what I suggest, not what I do. Okay. So when it comes to healing, proactive healing, for example, rather than simply resting or using a brace, you can also focus on healing exercises. So if you're, for example, dealing with knee pain, don't just rely on a knee brace. Uh, Strengthen the muscles around your knee, especially your quadriceps. These play a crucial role in stabilizing your knee, for example. So you can do things like straight leg raises, squats, or lunges, obviously with control and with advice from your doctor, because depending on the injury in the knee, it can actually make it worse. Um, Also doing mobility work and things like that. And also don't just mask the symptoms. For example, dancers think slapping a brace or taking painkillers means that the injury is healing because they're not feeling the pain. So while it can help alleviate discomfort, it's not going to heal the underlying issue. So you're actually just masking the problem temporarily, which means you could inadvertently be putting more stress on the area and making it worse in the longer term. So instead of just relying on external solutions, you need to focus on doing specific exercises that target the area or make the area around the injured area stronger so that you can heal better. And also, with myself, even with the 3 times that I sprained my ankle, very, very badly actually, every injury, every sprain was unique. It actually caused issues in different ways every time I sprained my ankle, even though it was still a sprain and it was the same ankle. So it's essential to remember that each injury is different and the specifics might vary depending on where you're injured. So it's important to consider the type of injury and to tailor your healing approach to suit your specific needs. It's really the key to healing is an active approach, not just resting. So not just lying and taking painkillers or things, actually looking at the core of the problem and not underestimating the power of targeted exercises and stretches. And if you do that, you will definitely come back stronger be more aware of your body, and be better prepared to avoid future injuries. So, when you are recovering from an injury, it can be tempting to just stop moving altogether, like I said, but you need to keep your body active and mobile, at least in a controlled, low impact way that's not going to cause further injury to the one that you have. And if you do it in the right way, it can help you to speed up the healing process. So you can do some perhaps low impact exercises or cross training. So participating in activities that don't place strain on the injured area, but still keep your body active and working. Like I said, impact activities like yoga, Pilates, or swimming are really great for healing. Yoga, for example, promotes flexibility and balance and breathing, all of which can help speed up your recovery. And swimming is another one. In the buoyancy of water really helps to take the pressure off your body, allowing you to exercise without the risk of further injury. Of course, unless you've got a serious shoulder exercise, then you maybe might not want to do swimming. So again, it depends on the type of injury you have. The key really is to find something that you can consistently do that will help maintain your physical fitness, prevent muscle imbalances, and keep your body strong without aggravating the injury. On top of cross training, obviously keeping your muscles flexible and mobile is very important. It's really crucial to the recovery process. So if you are recovering, the last thing you want is for other parts of your body to become stiff, weak, or tight because you're not moving. And stretching is a really low impact and fantastic way to help maintain your flexibility, but it also prevents tightness from developing in your muscles surrounding the injured area and can eventually probably help you to get back into your dancing uh, with less after effects, perhaps, from the injury. So, if you are recovering from an ankle injury like I was, it's important to stretch your calf muscles, for example, your hamstrings and your quads, to maintain mobility and to prevent compensation injuries. So, try and do that daily to prevent the muscles of becoming too tight and stiff, especially if you're dealing with lower body injuries. And also a mobility routine, exercises that improve the range of motion in your joints can also help, like ankle circles, like we spoke about in the previous episode, wrist rotations, hip rotations, and shoulder rolls, which doesn't put impact on your body, but actually helps you with your mobility. Then also body care is important. So getting body treatments such as massage or physiotherapy or even self-massage. I found that with my sprains, I don't know if it helps for everybody, but for me, taking an Epsom bath really helped. Uh, and then, things like foam rolling, for example. And then also what helped with my injury is I went to a chiropractor. And he told me that because of the initial injury that I incurred when we were traveling, because of me walking with that injury for so long before having it treated, my body got misaligned. So he helped me to correct that misalignment because chiropractic care focuses on the relationship between the spine and the nervous system. And chiropractors can help realign the spine and joints, and that will relieve muscle pain and assist with injury recovery. And I must tell you, not everybody believes in chiropractic practices. And I didn't before either, but after I went to that doctor, it really assisted with my recovery from my ankle injury. Finally, there's taping, specifically kinesiology tape or athletic tape. Taping can provide additional support, especially when you're starting to move around again. And kinesiology tape, for example, can help with pain relief, reduce swelling, and support your muscles and joints during the recovery process. However, it's important to again state that while tape can be helpful, it should never replace proper rehabilitation or exercise. Don't rely on the tape as a crutch or to hide the pain or ignore it so that you can continue dancing if you're not healed up to the correct point yet. It's supposed to be simply an aid to support your body as you work on healing through the correct exercises. The taping can help you with your stability, but strengthening the muscles around the injury should always remain your priority. I still wanted to talk about common dance injuries and healing strategies, as well as challenges that you face when you are older dancer, but we have gotten to the end of the episode. So we will just end that here. I hope you found that episode useful. I always find it very challenging to talk about injuries because we always think that we will never get hurt, Not in dancing, not outside of dancing, but unfortunately that does happen. So we have more than enough to talk about in a second episode about dance injuries and injuries as you become an older dancer. So we will talk about that in episode 49. So I will chat to you again next week. Ole!